I wouldn't recommend listening to this alone. Many viewers miss the real horror by leaving early. Stay till the end, if you dare. The night was calm, and the lake lay still under the pale silver moonlight. The air was heavy with humidity, the kind that clings to your skin and makes even silence feel thick. My name is Ethan Cole, and that summer of 2019, I worked as a seasonal fisherman at Silent Lake, a remote body of water hidden deep within the woods of northern Maine. Locals always told stories about the lake. They said it was cursed, that no one should fish there after midnight. Some old-timers whispered about the ghost fish, a creature that wasn't alive anymore, but still swam, searching for revenge. Of course, I never believed in any of that, until the night it happened. The invitation, it began when Mark, my fishing partner, convinced me to do a night catch. Big fish come out after dark, he said, lighting a cigarette. You want real money, you fish at night. We took our small wooden boat, the Mariner, and paddled into the middle of the lake. The air was still, the surface like black glass. Only the faint buzz of crickets and the occasional splash broke the silence. As we set the nets, Mark chuckled. You know, my granddad used to say this lake takes one soul every decade, he said. I laughed. Then it's overdue. He didn't laugh back. It is. The first catch. Around 1 a.m., our line tugged hard. It wasn't just a fish, it felt massive. Mark and I gripped the rod, struggling to pull it in. Whatever it was, it fought like hell, the line screaming as it bent. After nearly 10 minutes, we dragged it to the surface. It wasn't like any fish I'd seen before. Its scales were a dull gray, its eyes milky white, like a blind man's. When the lantern light hit it, its body shimmered strangely, not silver, but faintly translucent, like fog. What the hell is that? I whispered. Mark leaned closer. It's dead, he muttered. Look at its gills, they're not moving. But the fish moved. It twitched violently, slapping its tail against the wood, making hollow, wet thuds. Then I saw something else. It had a hook already embedded deep in its mouth. The metal was old, rusted, almost fused with the flesh. And tied to the hook was a torn piece of red cloth. Looks like someone caught it before, Mark said uneasily. Maybe it escaped. I wanted to throw it back. Something about its empty eyes made my stomach churn. But Mark wanted to keep it. It's a rare one, he said. Might be worth something. We put it in the bucket beside us. That was the first mistake. The lake changes. Around 2:30 a.m., fog began rolling across the lake, swallowing the boat. It came thick and fast, like smoke from a burning field. The moon disappeared behind it, and suddenly, everything turned black. The water grew strangely warm, and the air smelled foul, like rotten eggs and old seaweed. Mark frowned. You smell that? Before I could answer, a low splash echoed nearby. Then another, and another. Something was moving in the water, big, circling us. Mark shone his flashlight toward the sound. The beam hit something just beneath the surface. Dozens of white eyes stared back at us. Fish, hundreds of them, floating near the surface, unmoving. Their bodies drifted just below the waterline, their eyes reflecting the light like pearls. All of them were the same, dead but not sinking. What the? Mark's voice cracked. Why aren't they sinking? The boat rocked gently, though there was no wind. I tried to start the engine, but it sputtered, dead. Then I heard it, a faint, wet slap from inside the bucket. The fish we caught earlier wasn't dead anymore. It was moving again, its mouth opening and closing as if gasping for air. But what came out of its mouth wasn't air, it was water, thick and black, dripping onto the wood. Then it began to make a sound, a low, bubbling moan. The whisper beneath the waves. Mark panicked and grabbed the bucket, trying to throw the fish out. But when he lifted it, the fish's body suddenly twined around his wrist like a rope. Its tail coiled tightly, squeezing until the bones in his arm cracked. "Get it off me," he screamed. I tried pulling it loose, but it felt like cold steel. The fish's eyes rolled, and its mouth opened unnaturally wide, too wide, and bit into his hand. Mark howled in pain, blood splattering across the deck. I swung an oar at it, breaking the thing free. It hit the water with a splash and vanished beneath the black waves. Mark's hand was shredded. "We're leaving," he gasped, clutching it. "Now." I grabbed the engine cord and pulled hard. The motor sputtered, then finally started. But as we began to move, something heavy hit the bottom of the boat from underneath. Thump. Then again. Thump. Thump. Mark's flashlight flickered, and for a moment, I saw it, shapes moving under the boat. Dozens of them, long and serpentine. The water was bubbling, as if something huge was rising. Suddenly, the boat tilted sharply to the right. Mark fell overboard. "Mark!" I shouted, reaching for him. He surfaced once, his face pale and terrified. "Something's pulling me down." I threw a rope, but before he could grab it, he was yanked under. The water around him boiled, frothing red for a moment before going still. I stared into the lake, waiting for him to come up. He never did. The return of the fish. Alone, I sat trembling. The fog was so thick now I could barely see my own hands. Then came the sound again, the low, bubbling moan. It was behind me. I turned slowly. The bucket was still there. And inside it, the fish had returned. But it wasn't just a fish anymore. Its body was swollen, its skin stretched thin like wet paper. Its eyes glowed faintly blue, and its mouth hung open, dripping that same black water. As I watched, its gills pulsed, and a whisper filled the air. "Come back, down." The voice didn't come from the air, it came from inside my head. I felt dizzy, like something was pulling me toward the water. I backed away, shaking my head. "No, no." The fish flopped out of the bucket and began dragging itself across the deck, leaving a trail of black slime. Every thud of its body against the wood echoed through my skull. "Come back, down." And then, I saw Mark's face in the water. Pale, motionless, eyes wide open, staring at me. His mouth moved silently. Then something rose behind him. A shape, human, but wrong. It looked like a man made of fish scales and rotten flesh. Its hands were long and webbed. Its eyes, glowing blue like the fish. It reached toward me. The escape. I grabbed the lantern and hurled it into the water. The oil spread, and flames erupted across the surface, burning bright against the fog. The figure disappeared beneath the fire. I yanked the motor cord again and again until the engine roared to life. The boat lurched forward, cutting through the mist. For minutes, I didn't look back. My heart pounded, my body trembling uncontrollably. When I finally reached the dock, I leapt out and ran toward the cabin, collapsing on the wet ground. The lake behind me was calm again. Silent. The fire had burned out, leaving only faint ripples on the surface. The next morning, when the search team arrived, they found no trace of Mark. The boat was half sunk, its wood coated in black residue. The water samples taken from the lake were described as contaminated with an unknown organic substance. They said I was lucky to be alive. The legend lives on. I never went back to Silent Lake. I sold my gear, left town, and tried to forget. But sometimes, in the middle of the night, I still hear it, the sound of water dripping on wood. And in my dreams, I see Mark's eyes staring up from beneath the surface, surrounded by hundreds of dead, white-eyed fish. Locals say no one fishes there anymore. But every few years, someone new moves in, hoping to catch the big one. They say that if you fish at Silent Lake after midnight, you'll sometimes feel your line pull hard, harder than it should. And if you reel it in, you might catch something that isn't alive. They call it the ghost fish, the one that drags souls down to the bottom of the lake, where the dead still swim. Moral: if you ever find yourself fishing alone at night, and you feel something tug your line too hard, don't pull it in. Just cut the line and run. Because not everything in the water wants to be caught. If this story stayed in your mind longer than it should, leave a like, subscribe to Grim Wave, and tell me in the comments what part disturbed you the most.